Okay, so after we've done or finding the r, then when we plug it in, this is what you're going to have to do for about half of your assignment today, where you're going to have to then come up with the 6 ratios. Now, I drew a picture off of the ordered pair that Bryce gave me. Do you have to draw a picture? No. Could I have taken just 1 squared plus 2 squared, his ordered pair of 1, 2, to find my r? You bet I could. Okay, so that is a real distinct possibility that you don't have to. It works the same if you were to be given an ordered pair of negatives. You can draw the picture if you'd like, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay? X is always the adjacent and Y is always the opposite. Correct. So if you don't want to draw the picture, here's how you would attack this. What's negative 4 squared? 16. What's 3 squared? 9. What's 16 plus 9? 25. And what's the square root of 25? 5. So this time the r is 5. So looking at our 6 ratios now, the sine of theta, sine was y over the r. What's the y coordinate? 3. And what's the r? 5. Cosine was the x coordinate. Negative 4 over 5. Tangent was the y over negative 4. Now I just got to write the reciprocals of all those 3. Cosecant is the reciprocal of the sine, so that's 5/3. Secant is the reciprocal of the cosine, so that's negative 5/4. And cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent, so that's negative 4/3. And I'm done. What do you think? That is what you're going to have to do for the first half of your assignment today. Fairly simple? Again, I didn't draw a picture for that like I did for Bryce's, but I could have. Okay, I could have drawn a picture if that would have helped me. I would have went back 4, up 3, and I would have made this triangle over here. So negative 4, 3. Are you guys comfortable with those? Yeah? All right. Huh? Because you're doing the Pythagorean theorem. Now, the next type of circle that we're going to refer to is a pretty important one. We're going to use this one for the rest of the chapter. This one's going to be known as what we call the unit circle. Unit meaning the radius will always be 1. The radius is always 1 when it comes to a unit circle. Okay? You're going to have the coordinate plane like this. But then you're going to have a circle coming around it. And what's the radius no matter where you're at? 1. So if I drew this angle right out to here, to this point right there, that is at the ordered pair of 1, 0. Because I was 1 unit away. What is it when it goes right to 90 degrees? 90 degrees, but what's the ordered pair where it's located at? 0, 1. 1 unit. What if it's at 180 degrees? So if I go all the way to here. Negative 1 and 0. Why was it negative 1, Sarah? Because it's going to the left. Good job. Then if I'm all the way to at 100 or 270, 0, negative 1 would be the ordered pair that I use. What's the r for every single one of them? 1. So all I did was I just came up with and created all the ordered pairs that you need for those. What it's going to have you do for these type is it's going to say, use the unit circle to evaluate 6 trig functions of theta equaling 270. Where's 270 at? The bottom one. This one's 270. So the ordered pair that we're using is 0, negative 1, and the radius is always 1. And then from here, we're going to put it into those ratios that I gave you at the beginning. Y over R, X over R, Y over X. and then the reciprocals of all those. The ordered pair. The 270 is just the location where you're going to, like how far you're going to spin the wheel. So you're going to spin it all the way around to 270, and you're stopping at this. These are the numbers that you use for the ratios. Mm-hmm. So, if I said that theta was at 180 degrees, what ordered pair is associated with 180? -1, 0, and what's the radius for all of them? 1. So sine of theta, what's the y coordinate? 0 divided by 1. What's 0 divided by anything? 0. Good. Cosine of theta is the x coordinate, which is -1 divided by the radius, which is 1. And what's -1 divided by 1? The tangent of theta is the y coordinate, which is divided by the x coordinate, which is -1. And what's 0 divided by anything? The cosecant is the reciprocal of the sine, which is 1 over 0. What's 1 divided by 0? Not 0. Not 1. You can't do it. You remember the 11th commandment states, thou shalt not divide by 0. You can't do that. You cannot break something into 0 equal pieces. So that is considered, or what we call, undefined, which we abbreviate a lot of times as UND. Okay? What about the secant? Secant is the reciprocal of the cosine. So if I flip that over, it's 1 over -1, or still -1. And the cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent, -1 over 0. What's that answer? Undefined. Are you guys comfortable with these? This is the second half of your assignment today, and that is it. All of the angles that I'm going to give you, at least today, are going to fall on one of the axes. Now, just so that you are aware of it, some of them are in radian measure as compared to degree measure. I gave you 180 degrees, but what if I gave you pi? Okay, so if I gave you something like pi over 2. Now, me personally, if I don't remember what pi over 2 is or where it's at on the unit circle, convert it to degrees. So that way you know it's in the same spot. So I take 180 over pi, the pi's cancel, and what's 180 divided by 2? 90. So pi over 2 is the same thing as 90 degrees. Just so that you are aware of it. That's what we did yesterday when we converted. Okay? So if they give you a radian measure, in order to figure out where it's located at on the circle, convert it to degrees. It's easier. So what do you guys think? Can you handle that? All right. So on page 482, when you look at the first ones, on 3 through 8, it's going to give you an ordered pair, and it's going to then ask you to write the 6 ratios. Very similar to when I asked Bryce for an ordered pair, and he gave it to me, then we found the 6 ratios. Then 9 through 14 says use the unit circle, which is exactly what we just did with the 1s and 0s. Okay? So on page 482, we're going 4 to 14 evens.